Thank you.
Fancy.
Fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the Marketing Freaks podcast. Today's random location is my car. I'm with Abby and we're going to go for a drive and talk about Facebook ads. Let's get a coffee.
Yeah, do it.
Alrighty, so what is going on with iOS14 and all those tracking changes?
Yeah, so that got rolled out start of this month after lots of different, not start of this month, that was April, wasn't it? It's May now.
Yeah, it is May.
So it's April, it got rolled out. Got rolled out April. Basic overview, Apple gave an opt-out system for their tracking. So if you have the Facebook app on your phone, actually any app that involves tracking, you got a pop-up on your phone saying, do you want to opt in or opt out of this? And yeah, quite a big change. I reckon the first one that's going to happen, because Google won't be too far behind.
Yep.
And then Facebook responded pretty angrily about it. Upset that they weren't kind of, talked to as much by Apple. There wasn't much kind of back and forth with them. And now Facebook have made lots of changes within their ads platform to kind of accommodate for that lack of tracking.
Yep. Which is quite a big change, but it's not just a Facebook problem, is it?
No.
It's actually the fact that Apple have rolled out this new privacy notification or opt-in notification for apps.
Yeah.
So it's any app, it's just that Facebook have probably been the most proactive / vocal about it.
Yeah,
Do you
I mean,
reckon?
it's everything. It's like, it's your Fitbit. It's anything with tracking. You
Yeah.
get a pop-up now if it's in the Apple Store.
Which is a pretty big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, should people be worried, do you think?
I think it's going to change a lot of how maybe we structure our Facebook ads or advertising in general, because we're going to be, this is just the first kind of move in this direction, I think, because Google are going to start doing more on their side.
Yeah.
There's going to be there's a lot of stuff happening with cookies. We're going to lose a lot of tracking, so it's not something to be worried about, but I think that the structure of how we do things is going to change.
Yeah. I guess we've got the benefit, I think. This is where the positives of being in an agency environment really kick in, because when a big change like this happens, we've got access to so many different accounts. We kind of get quite a broad picture across a large spectrum of accounts. Whereas I think if you're just working on one account, or you're in-house and you haven't got that breadth, it's got to be quite worrying.
Intimidating?
Yeah, intimidating.
Yeah.
Possibly the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, there's so many different facets to it as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So from what we're seeing across different accounts, if someone's sat there looking at their account and they're not quite sure what's what, with all the different facets that go into it, from people opting out of iOS, tracking on iOS14, obviously we've got the attribution windows changing, it's buggy as hell.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking, what have we seen in the last 4 weeks since all of this has been kicking in?
So I guess the first thing is the changes that Facebook made. In order to run ads, you have to verify your domain. So if you haven't done that, do it now. Get your domain verified, because that actually might stop you from running ads.
And you do that through your business manager.
You do that through your business manager, yeah. So that's if you haven't done that, stop listening to this podcast and go and do that right now.
But subscribe first. And that's just you put a tag on your site, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Just to verify it. And then the other thing is setting up your 8 optimized events, your aggregated event measurement. So you got to pick kind of 8 key events that you want to be tracking. So I think it's important to understand that you don't lose all tracking from people that opt out. You're still going to get a conversion event from people that have been on your site,
Yep.
but it will only be a conversion event, and it probably will only be within a day window of clicking.
Yep.
So it is limited, but you're not losing everything. I think that as well, like not all panic stations for that. You're still going to get that tracking, but you need to have those 8 events set up. I think for e-commerce, it's relatively simple. It's going to be purchase first. That's going to be your first prioritized event, and work down from
then
there.
Add to
Yeah.
cart or checkout, then add to cart, then product page view.
Yeah. What's maybe been a little bit trickier is, for us at least, as clients where they might have like 2 different potentially clashing events that you want to be tracking for.
Yep.
So like
Okay. Yep.
yeah, so like a purchase event, and then maybe like a sign up event that they're really keen on and it's really important. It's figuring out from your perspective as a business what is most important. Like, do we care about getting those purchase events and knowing what the ROAS is from our paid social campaigns, or do we really want to be tracking how many sign-ups we're getting through this?
Yeah, because if they're tracking both and someone signs up and then purchases, because the purchase is the priority, the purchase is the one that would get recorded.
Yeah.
For people who have opted out.
For people that have opted out, yeah.
Which kind of, like, if they've opted out, like, why are we still getting one event?
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, you still get one event, but you get the priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess there's a trade-off there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's, I guess, just weighing up what's important to you as a business. What's important for you to be tracking, because if you don't mind about not seeing your revenue from your Facebook ads, and it's more important to have your sign-ups, you're still going to see that revenue coming in your back-end systems anyway.
Yep.
So it's just figuring out what's most important.
Yep. And on the buggy side of things, so whenever Facebook change anything big, the platform melts down. And
absolutely.
There's just a trend, isn't it? You know, whether they're just changing the UI a little bit, or if they're adding in a new feature, 9 times out of 10 you can expect some degree of pain.
Yeah.
So what pain have you been going through with this? Like, what sort of bugs are you seeing?
I think the biggest one that's affected everybody and maybe made people quite panicky is that with the attribution window change, so default going from 28-day view 28-day click, 1-day view, it then went to 7-day click, 1-day view, and now any new ad sets that you've built from like 1st April onwards are just 7-day click. And so if you're creating new ad sets and not changing your attribution window on those ad sets, then you can't get totals of things. So you can't get totals of revenue, you can't get totals of purchases, you can't get totals of anything, basically, apart from like click-through rates and spend, because that's fine, it's not calculated that way. So if you're just looking at your ads manager, you might really struggle to get a holistic picture of things.
Oh, right, so when you log in and you just want to go, what's my total account
good luck
wide ROAS for the last 2 weeks? Ain't there. No,
and we've been able to change a lot of them so that it all matches up, but there's certain ones like broad DPA, you can't just have a 7-day. It's always going to be 7-day click, 1-day view.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really important to be pulling that data into somewhere else and looking at it.
Yeah.
Cue plug for Supermetrics.
Yeah. But that gets around it a bit, doesn't it? Because you export the data.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can then calculate total spend, revenue, get your ROAS from that. Yeah. But I think if you're not used to it and you're going into the platform and then all of a sudden you can't see totals, I can imagine it would make you a bit panicky. Yeah. This week was this week, so last week when anyone's listening to this, and hopefully it's resolved, but you can't duplicate any ads.
Not today.
Oh, it's working.
No, as in not today. You can't duplicate them today.
Oh.
It's not been working out. So I think the biggest takeaway from that is, like, if you've got a big launch event or something that has like a day where you really need it to be live, you need to give yourself a bigger grace period at the moment,
because that's a massive amount more work. If you're running a big account where you can't duplicate ads across ad sets to test different audiences, you have to load them in individually.
Yeah, like I couldn't duplicate anything yesterday. It wasn't even coming up with like anything to publish. It was just non-existent.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, and just we've had it with like things. It seems like we've switched something off, and then it hasn't switched off. So just being really close to your work and making sure you're double checking everything, and not necessarily trusting the platform right now.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's really frustrating.
It's annoying. Yeah. But I think going into the year when iOS, when it was all announced and no one really knew what was going to happen on Facebook ads, it was quite scary, I think, for quite a lot of people. But obviously the bugs and the issues in the platform are just bloody annoying.
But they'll get ironed out eventually.
It's an like annoyance, right?
Teething problems.
Yeah. Attribution windows changed. It is what it is. It's just a different view. But
yeah, I'm not against that. I think 28-day was too big anyway.
Generous,
it was very, very generous.
Yeah. Good for case studies.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think 7-day, and actually, like when we looked beforehand at 28 days versus 7 days, for a lot of accounts, it wasn't like a massive amount of difference, was it? Because most people were making a purchase within 7 days of clicking on an ad anyway.
I guess it just affected, like if we have clients that have products that have a really high AOV, that might be like a longer purchase consideration time.
Yeah.
That's where it would affect.
Yeah, like the higher end products and accounts.
Yeah.
So that's that. It's annoying. If you take all of with the bugs, is annoying.
Yeah.
But if you take that out of the window and you just try and gauge how much has performance differed or dropped as a result of this, what's your gut feel?
I think it's interesting. So a part of this aggregated event measurement, I find it really hard to say.
Putting into the old Hogsback Cafe there.
Yeah, interesting.
Sorry.
Like I think a part of that, the aggregated event measurement, is that Facebook is basically making they're also making a guesstimate of where people are purchasing.
Yeah.
As well. So we haven't seen numbers drop, but I think it's really important to always be checking what you're seeing in Facebook against what you're seeing in your back end. Like you don't want to just be assuming that that's all 100% correct. I would say, like always be checking your data against other data to make sure that it all lines up.
Yep.
Let's see. Now I've lost my train of thought. What are we talking about? Can edit this out.
We were talking about gut feel on performance.
Oh right, yeah. Gut feel on performance is it hasn't affected the this is horrific. You should not be able to drive here.
That is you'll see it in the fucking hell.
We've seen a dip in it definitely in retargeting. So like broad retargeting audiences, which were like the one previously, are not doing as well because of how that like event priorities are set up. So if you've got somebody coming in to your website and they are looking at pages, but they're also viewing content and they might also be adding to cart and not purchasing, then the event that's prioritized there is the add to cart or the view content,
because they're further up the list.
So those just pure landing page views, not looking at any product specific pages, then those audiences are getting smaller.
Got you.
So it's affecting there, but then
because that person would then end up in your add to cart retargeting audience, but not your general
retargeting. Because, and that's why I think it's really important to have your dynamic product ad set up for stuff like add to cart and view content, so you're capturing those people.
So I mean, tactically, you need to have a more, if you haven't already got it, but you need a really thorough layer of retargeting across different parts of that buying or e-commerce journey, so that if someone does go a step further, you make sure that they're included somewhere.
So you're not losing out.
Top tip.
Definitely.
But it's so much more complex, isn't it? Because like you wouldn't have had to think about that 6 months ago,
No.
5 months ago, or not even that long ago at all. But way more complex. So you really, I think you have to understand it, don't you? Otherwise, you'd be looking at your retargeting, going, "Why is that?
Yeah, why is this tanking?
Suddenly not working?
Yeah.
Oh, let's refresh creative, or let's do this." It's like, no, it's going to make no difference.
Yeah. You can refresh creative all you want if your audience isn't working. Doesn't matter what creative you're putting into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what should people, as we go through a dark tunnel, what should people be doing about it? Like, are there any actionable recommendations apart from don't freak out, the bugs will go, the attribution window change isn't really that big a deal. What should people do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the attribution window thing, more than anybody else, affects agencies because we're always trying to prove how well we're doing to our clients, and that change has meant that we've maybe had to change how we speak about our results.
Yep.
That's fine. But I'd say for like in-house, that's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, and I feel like I do yab on about this with like our clients, is if we're going to start losing out on retargeting ability, then
Starbucks.
Yeah, sure. Then we should be working on building their own customer list. So whether that's like newsletter subscribers or people that have accounts with them or whoever, need to be building that up. Like, it's so important.
Yeah.
Not to just be relying on audiences that we have from Facebook. Having your own customer list.
Data.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to pause the recommendations. What do you want?
I think I just want a black coffee, please.
Okay. Hello? Can we have one black coffee?
Medium?
Yeah.
Yep.
So medium black Americano, yeah.
Could I have a peach iced tea?
Medium size as well.
Yes, please.
Anything else?
That's all, thank you.
Dark brown, please.
Thank you.
It's a rogue order from you.
No, I normally
So
black
rogue.
coffee. I've had so much caffeine today that I need to order something that's not. Oh, come on. Do you know what? It's nice being able to get a coffee in a drive-through, but they do take fucking ages, don't they?
Sometimes, like I've been here, it's been round the side.
Thank you.
Fancy.
Fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I don't feel like myself.
I don't know who you are right now.
I never drink anything other than shut up. That's detecting the curb. I never drink anything else apart from like a basic black coffee.
That looks
It's
like fancy.
I don't know what has happened.
Nice.
So recommendations.
Are we starting again, are we?
Yeah. It's actually very nice. Yeah. So what should people be doing about it? Like, what are the actionable recommendations that we can give to someone who's a little bit worried, if there are any?
Verify your domain.
Yeah.
Set up your aggregated events ASAP.
Don't freak out.
Don't freak out. Yeah.
And the world is going in a direction where there's just an ongoing challenge, isn't there, with having less and less performance data or less ability to remarket to people.
Yeah, and it's also going to affect, like, if we don't have that data from people, it will also cloud top funnel audiences with retargeting. I mean, it's not going to be as easy to exclude people.
Yeah.
So factoring that into your campaigns as well.
Yeah.
I think it's all just being like aware of what's going on. Not just trusting the data.
I reckon that's the biggest thing, is just understand what the changes are, why they've happened.
Yeah.
What's going on, because that's ultimately how you're going to get through it and still do okay, because everyone else is in the same boat. So ultimately, the more you understand about it.
Yeah. And it's not like paid social advertising is going anywhere.
No.
Like, it's still going to be around. It's just how you structure your accounts to know that your retargeting might be a bit off and your top funnel might be clouded by retargeting and working on your own customer list. Like
Yeah.
it's just going to change strategy a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, and we just have to make the most of it.
And I would say definitely pull your data into somewhere else to check it.
Yes, that's another good.
Because then you can make sure it's all under the right attribution window, that you're seeing everything in one place. If you're getting frustrated with Ads Manager, pull it somewhere else and have a look at it there.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
very difficult to get an overview at the moment on a lot of accounts.
Excellent. Well, look, some practical, actionable recommendations.
Cool.
Don't freak out. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Abby.
Welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Boiling hot coffee.